All right, today we're cracking open a financial toolkit that's used to manage trillions of dollars in risk every single day. Let's talk about derivatives and foreign exchange. Two of the most powerful and honestly most misunderstood forces in the entire global economy. So let's just start with this question. Imagine you're trying to run a business. Your costs, your revenue, they are just all over the place, constantly shifting. Planning is a nightmare, right? Well, this question, it gets right to the heart of why these financial tools even exist. How do you manage all that uncertainty in a world where prices never, ever sit still? The answer? Well, it's a little thing called a derivative. And I know, the name sounds super complicated, but the idea behind it is actually pretty simple. It's just a contract whose value is derived from something else. Could be the price of oil, a stock, a currency, you name it. It's really just a way to make a deal today about a price in the future. And you can do that either to protect yourself from risk or to bet on which way you think that price is going to go. Okay, so here's our game plan. We're going to start with why these tools are even a thing. Then we'll explore the two main toolkits, the custom-made stuff versus the standardized gear. After that, we'll dive into the massive market where they're all used, meet the key players, and finally, take a quick peek at what the future of all this might look like. So let's get right into that core problem. How do you tame financial uncertainty? I mean, every single day, businesses, investors, pretty much everyone is facing the risk that prices are going to change in ways they just can't predict. We're talking fuel prices, currency values, interest rates, the works. At the end of the day, these tools do one absolutely critical job. They transfer risk. Think of it like a game of hot potato. They let someone who desperately wants to avoid a risk, we call them a hedger, pass that hot potato to someone who is willing to take on that risk, hoping to make a profit. We call them a speculator. And it's that constant exchange that actually helps make the whole system work. All right, let's open our first toolkit. These are the custom-made tailor-fit tools. We're talking about financial instruments that are designed for very specific, unique needs. And they're all negotiated privately between two parties. This happens in what's called the over-the-counter, or OTC market. First up, we've got the forward contract. You can think of this as kind of like a financial pinky swear, but way more serious. It's a totally private, completely custom deal to buy or sell something at a future date for a price you both agree on today. It's perfect for someone with a very specific need, like a chocolate maker who needs exactly 1,300 tons of cocoa beans delivered on May 28th. The key here? It's not optional. You're both locked in. No backing out. So how does this actually work in the real world? Okay, picture an airline. They know they have to buy a ton of jet fuel in 6 months, and they're sweating about the price going through the roof. So they can use a forward contract to lock in a fixed price today for that fuel they need down the road. Boom. They get cost certainty, their profits are protected, and they don't have to worry about what the market does. Next in the custom toolkit is a swap. And it's pretty much exactly what it sounds like. Two parties agree to swap their payment streams. Let's say you've got a loan with a variable interest rate that's making you nervous. At the same time, another company has a loan with a fixed rate they'd love to get out of. You can literally just swap those payment obligations. It's a really powerful way for big institutions to handle some seriously complex, long-term risks. All right, that was the custom stuff. Now let's switch gears and open up our second toolkit, the standardized, off-the-shelf instruments. The big difference here? Unlike the custom tools, these are traded out in the open on public exchanges. That makes them way more accessible and transparent for everyone. So the first standardized tool is a futures contract. And honestly, it works almost exactly like a forward contract. It's still an obligation to buy or sell something later at a price you set today. But, and this is a big but, everything is standardized. It's like buying a t-shirt in small, medium, or large instead of getting one custom tailored. You're just buying a generic contract for, say, 1,000 barrels of oil. And because they're all the same, anyone can trade them super easily on an exchange. So you've got a choice to make, right? A trade-off. With a private forward contract, you get that perfect custom fit, but you have to worry about counterparty risk. That's just a fancy way of asking, what if the other person doesn't hold up their end of the deal and goes bankrupt? A standardized future, on the other hand, solves that problem. There's a middleman, a clearinghouse that guarantees the trade no matter what. So what's the catch? Well, you give up all that beautiful customization.
Okay, now for something really different. This next tool, its entire magic, what makes it completely different from anything we've talked about, is captured in this one little phrase.
And we're talking about, of course, options. Here's how they work. You pay a little fee up front, that's called the premium. And for that fee, you buy the right to do something, like buy a call or sell a put, an asset at a set price. But you are not forced to do it. Think about that. As the buyer, the absolute most you can lose is that small premium you paid. That's it. The seller, though, they're the ones with the obligation, and their risk, well, it can be a whole lot bigger. Okay, so let's put it all together real quick. In one corner, you've got your custom-made tools, forwards and swaps. They're super flexible, but you've got that counterparty risk to worry about. In the other corner, you have your standardized tools, futures and options. They're traded on an exchange, much safer because of that middleman, but you do lose that custom fit. All right, so we've got our toolkit. Now, where do we actually use these things? Well, let's talk about the biggest financial arena on the entire planet, the foreign exchange market. You'll probably hear it called FX. This is the ultimate playground for all these tools. And when I say big, I mean it's almost hard to wrap your head around. On an average day, the FX market trades about $7.5 trillion every single day. That's not just big, it absolutely dwarfs every stock market in the world combined. It is, without a doubt, the biggest game there is. Now, the most basic deal in this market is something called spot FX. It's super simple. You're just swapping one currency for another right now, at today's price. But here's the thing. That spot price is always moving, which creates a ton of risk for any global business. Which, you guessed it, is exactly why that derivative toolkit we just talked about is so crucial here. You use things like currency forwards to lock in those rates. And who's playing in this massive sandbox? Well, pretty much everyone. You've got the giant commercial banks at the center of it all, central banks stepping in to manage their currencies, huge corporations just trying to pay for things across borders, big-time investors, and even retail traders like you and me.
So let's dig into the dynamics of this game. What makes all these different players tick? What are their motivations, and what are the big risks they're all trying to manage?
You know, when you boil it all down, everybody in this market really fits into one of two buckets. You've got your hedgers who are there to get rid of risk, to protect themselves, and then you have your speculators who are looking to profit from that very same risk. And here's the cool part. They absolutely need each other. One can't exist without the other. And no matter which side you're on, you're constantly juggling these four big risks. First, there's market risk. The price just goes the wrong way. Simple as that. Then there's credit risk, which we've talked about. Your partner in the deal disappears or can't pay. Liquidity risk is a sneaky one. You want to sell, but crickets. Nobody's buying. And of course, operational risk. Somebody hits the wrong button, the classic fat finger trade, and poof, millions are gone. So what's next? Where does all of this go from here? Because believe me, this financial toolkit is not just sitting on a shelf collecting dust. It's getting a massive tech upgrade as we speak. There are really three huge things driving this evolution. First, you've got AI, making trading decisions faster than a human can even blink, analyzing data we can never process. Then there's blockchain technology, which promises to make transactions settle almost instantly instead of taking days. And we're even inventing brand new tools, like these things called perpetual futures that you see in crypto, which, unlike traditional futures, don't even have an expiration date. And all of this, it leads us to a really fundamental and kind of scary question for the future. We are building this incredibly powerful, super fast, automated financial toolkit. Is that going to make our world economy safer and more stable? Or are we accidentally building something so fast and so complex that it creates brand new, lightning-fast risks that we can't even see coming? That right there is the real trillion-dollar question. Thanks for joining us.